People ask me sometimes, when will there be enough women on the court? And my answer is when there are 9. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was an example of communication in history because of what she did for women's rights. RBG was an example because her communication is beautiful towards her approach of law, advocacy, and human rights. Ginsburg spent many years finding her voice and learning why women were and could be as equal to a man. She left a legacy and inspired many women to chase their dreams by showing them that they have the same rights as men. She went on to be the second female to serve on the Supreme Court. From Ginsburg's vigorous questions to her astonishing writing skills and back to her black velvet collar she gracefully wore to designate her dissatisfaction of any of her beliefs, Supreme Court Justice rose to the top of her career by making a statement on the fight for women's rights. It was key to understanding because of all she did to change the world. Ruth Bader Ginsburg made a change in history and paved the way for women's rights and equality for all. Throughout the years, it may not have been easy, but she advocated, found her voice, and passion. Before Ginsburg was a judge, she was a general counsel for ACLU, which stands for the American Civil Liberties Union. Throughout the time as a general counsel, she argued more than 300 sex discrimination cases. Ginsburg stated that she had always had an interest in gender equality and wanted to pursue a legal career that could fight gender discrimination and advocate for women until they had the same rights as men. On March 15, 1933, in Brooklyn, New York, shortly after Franklin D. Roosevelt becomes the 32nd President of the United States, icon Ruth Bader Ginsburg was born and ready to change the world. Throughout her life, she was happily married and had 2 kids, her daughter Jane and her son James, and later on 4 grandchildren. After her education, Ginsburg spent a majority of her career strengthening the concept that women should be equal to men, rather than the stereotypes that men were not only more powerful and superior, but that women should be and are equivalent to what a man is. Ginsburg attended James Madison High School, where she graduated in 1950. Shortly after, she attended Cornell University, receiving her diploma in 1954 and graduating first in her class. She then married Martin D. Ginsburg, also a law student, that same year. Furthering her education, she followed Martin to Harvard Law School, becoming one of 9 women at Harvard in a class of 500. Regardless of facing massive discrimination that restricted her opportunities, her career as a lawyer began. Ginsburg didn't just get through the hate and sex discrimination, she thrived through it and made it into something she wanted to work towards. She became a pioneer in gender equality legislation, debating 6 crucial sex discrimination cases before she served as a Supreme Court justice and winning 5 out of the 6 cases. Ginsburg was appointed as a judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit in 1980. President Clinton appointed her as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Ruth gladly took her seat on August 10, 1993. Ginsburg died on September 18, 2020, while being a justice for 27 years. During Ginsburg's lifetime, she fought over 30 court cases that would make an impact towards gender equality and stop sex discrimination. Throughout her years, her voice never faded and she never stopped fighting. In one of her most recent diverges, Ginsburg criticized the court for leaving women workers to fend for themselves. In a situation where the justices beat down and pushed away the Affordable Care Act's contraceptive command, Ginsburg stated, quote, "This court leaves women workers to fend for themselves to seek contraceptive coverage from this sources other than their employer's insurer, and absent another available source of funding to pay for contraceptive services out of their own pockets," unquote. Being dedicated to women's rights and being a strong advocate when the case's verbal arguments were being discussed, Ginsburg engaged from the hospital because of an ongoing gallbladder condition. With over 30 court cases, Ginsburg paved the way for women's rights. She co-founded the Women's Rights Project at the ACLU and argued the cases that led the High Court to function and declare protections in anticipation of gender discrimination. Ginsburg's state-funded schools weren't required to admit women. In the 1996, one of Ginsburg's biggest cases, known as the United States versus Virginia case, Ginsburg wrote, "The majority opinion that it is unconstitutional for schools funded by taxpayer dollars to bar women." She believed women deserve the same education as a man. Ginsburg also paved the way for the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, which started in 1974. It simply allowed a woman to apply for credit cards or an Opportunity Act to have mortgage without a male figure in their lives. 2 to 3 things cannot describe how much more she did. Ginsburg was a key in key vote in same-sex marriage, an advocate for women's rights to choose, made strides towards equal pay, and more. As a result, her arguments and points made a difference and shaped gender equality. Today, women are now allowed to do the same things as a man, apply for a